And Rex, we're on the slide here that has the picture of your book. So
great.
If you can maybe tell us a little bit more about the book here. This is Pragmatic Software Testing, and what type of audience do you think would profit the most from reading this book or benefit the most from it, and what what type of topics are in here?
Well, the book is written for test practitioners, mostly individual contributors, but also leads who need to really understand at a detailed level the skills required to be effective and efficient as a tester, and to be able to apply those skills to real-world projects. And one of the ways that I brought that real-world aspect to it was by including a lot of exercises. There is an actual running series of exercises that go throughout the course, and every major concept after it's introduced is then subjected to a set of exercises against this real-world hypothetical project, so that people really have a jump start on transferring these techniques into their day-to-day work.
Excellent. Going on to the slide that has a table of contents for the first 3 or 4 or 5 chapters here. Could you maybe expand a little bit on what's in the book?
Sure. So one of the things that I think we need to do as testers is make sure that we're pointed in the right direction. So instead of starting with immediately jumping into really detailed discussions of techniques, test design techniques, what I wanted to do first was to talk about goals, strategies, and tactics, and how you make sure that those things are all properly lined up, that you understand the goals that you're there to serve, and adopt strategies that are going to be effective at achieving those goals on your project, and then you adopt tactics, the individual techniques that make sense within that context of those goals and strategies. I think all too often there's the give the child a nail and the whole world is a hammer thing, where they know how to do certain things, test design techniques, and they just run around looking at ways to use those on projects. So the first part really helps people avoid that. The second part then talks about risk-based testing and how to do that effectively, how to analyze risks and assess the level of risk, and then use that to guide your testing. And then at that point, with that foundation in place, we then move on into the detailed techniques, which are broken down into basically 3 groups of static techniques, which are things like reviews and static analysis, and then black box or behavioral techniques, which are things that are more at the user experience level, and then the structural techniques like code coverage and integration testing and so forth. So that's kind of a unique approach, I think, compared to some of the other books on test design for the same audience that really just wade right into here are the techniques, but they don't necessarily give you the context to understand, well, how would I know which of these techniques to use when?
And so you guys help frame that context.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, let me move on to the solutions slide here, and what we're attempting to do in today's webinar is, in a very short amount of time, give the audience the top 3 industry challenges that your book addresses, and maybe we'll discuss those, pointing back to chapters in the book and what pages they would read or what chapters they would read to to discuss those. So we have 3 here on the slide, if you'd like to maybe pick it up from here, and I understand these are for the typical test professional on any type of project.
Yeah. The book really covers a broad range of concepts and techniques that's designed to really give the test professional, say, 90% of the concepts that they would need, even on rather obscure situations. But obviously there's some things that you need all the time, one project after another, and then there are others that are more obscure. And I think it would be fair to say that three recurring challenges that come up for testers are picking the right strategy, so automated versus manual, requirements-based versus risk-based versus reactive types of testing. How do we know that our strategy is appropriate? Then picking the right things to test, making sure that that we are allocating effort appropriately, that we're running the tests in the right order, and so forth. And testing complex business logic, going beyond just finding situations where, I can shove an integer into this field, and it's only supposed to support a letter or something like that. Well, yeah, there's a time and a place for that, but programs exist to do complicated things, and people need to understand how to test those complicated things.
And moving on to the first item in Chapter 4, then, this is where you talk about understanding the test strategies, and expand a little more on that for us.
Sure. So, as I said at the outset, you have to understand what you're trying to accomplish, and then you pick strategies that are going to help you accomplish that. And a lot of people are really unaware of the different strategies, and what happens is I think they start to think of strategies like religions, and they think, I have to test this way, or this is the right way to test, or that is the right way to test, and that leads to an inflexibility, and as I said before, to give the child a hammer and the whole world is a nail problem of, I know how to do this. So in this section, I really wanted to give people exposure to that broad range of testing strategies that are out there, from analytical strategies to dynamic types of reactive strategies, and regression testing strategies, and methodical testing strategies, and so forth. So people really get a sense of, okay, these are my different options, and here's how I would pick them.
Okay, and going on to, we have a slide here of your training. Anything more helpful by using the training that might not be in the book?
I think so. For a lot of people, the Pragmatic Software Testing Training course does track the book very closely. There's some additional features in the course that we think are very helpful. Multiple choice questions at the end of each section that allow people to check whether they got some concept, and so each chapter is broken down into a number of sections. So you have repeated opportunities every 10 to 15 minutes to check how you're doing. Are you understanding things? And how engaged are you in the material? The same set of exercises and exercise solutions are provided. And we also have, of course, an audio component to it, so people are listening to narration that is explaining these concepts. And some people find that provides more structure, more guidance, more ways to absorb the knowledge.
Okay. And we have a question that's come in from the field here. What about exploratory testing? Are they discussed somewhere in the book?
Yeah. Exploratory testing is one of the what I would call a dynamic or reactive test technique. I call it reactive because exploratory testing is about reacting to the system as you actually find it. So analysis, analytical techniques, generally, you're trying to analyze information up front to determine what the system is that you're going to be given and how you should go about testing it. But a reactive technique, which, exploratory testing, James Whitaker's software attacks, that's described in his books, the How to Break Software series, Elizabeth Hendrickson's work on creative software testing, all of these more reactive techniques that tend to say, well, the system did this when I did that, therefore the next thing I should do is this. They're a great complement to the analytical techniques, because to the extent that analytical techniques have weak spots, these reactive techniques tend